Hello and welcome to another episode of Express Talk. This is episode 3, and much like every other week before this, I have to introduce myself as I am your host with the most. And much like the last 2 weeks, now it is time for our toast. And for this week's toast, I want to give props where props are due, and that is to Lucha Underground, because though I have never seen an episode of Lucha Underground thus far, I will say that the product must be incredibly well put together and a very entertaining product to be getting the props and the praise that it's been getting thus far this year. And in many ways, it may be turning the clock and changing wrestling for the better and making it more generational like everybody else thinks it is. And by that I mean Lucha Underground may be the new way wrestling will be for this generation. Seasonal television, products that a company that is more realistic, where wins and losses actually matter, etc., etc., etc. So, to give props where props is due, this one's for you, Lucha Underground. Now we move to our topic of discussion this week, and that is NXT. Yes, that's right. I know when most people hear those 3 letters, they think the best thing about WWE. But the one thing a lot of people forget is NXT is a developmental. It is a developmental territory where people go to develop characters, skills, and all sorts of other things for the main roster. Meaning, they're not going to stay there forever, even if they want to, because they didn't get signed to stay with NXT forever, or with the intention of them staying with NXT forever. They got signed because of the possibility and the likelihood of them coming up to the main roster, not to stay in NXT. So the idea of the Ascension and Tyler Breeze and the 3 and Becky, Charlotte, and Sasha and others staying down in NXT forever because of the questionable booking up on the main roster, that is impossible. That is impossible because it gets to a point where people will start asking questions. Why are they still in developmental? Why are they still in the Performance Center? Yes, fine. You want to take the standpoint or the point of view that Diamond Dallas Page, back when he was in WCW, used to go to the power plant, which was WCW's training facility, every day he could to get better, to find a new way to land a diamond cutter, and to just train. He did it every day he could, which is why nobody could tout or discount Diamond Dallas Page's work ethic. But there's a difference. Diamond was a main roster worker when he was doing it, and he wasn't down there to help and stay down there. He was down there to make himself better. people like Finn Balor and Sami Zayn and Samoa Joe and Charlotte and Sasha and other divas like other women like that, and talent on NXT in general, as Enzo and Cass, Bailey, so on and so forth, they're gonna reach a point like the Ascension, like Sammy, like Kevin, like Becky, Charlotte, and Sasha did, where they don't need NXT anymore. And they're going to come up. Yes, you're going to ask questions. Why? Why should they come up if they're going to be booked not as good as they are down there? That's not the point. The point is NXT is a developmental. That is what it was made to be. Meaning, talent is the talent roster is supposed to look like ECW. What do I mean by that? Think back. If you were a fan of ECW, think back to a certain point when talent from ECW started getting stolen, and new talent had to be made. That is what NXT is. It's a brand where talent goes in and moves on. They don't stay. They go in and move on, and new stars come in to take their spot. Like, I would say Apollo Crews took over for Kevin Owens. I mean, that's fair, isn't it? Apollo Crews, Kevin Owens. I mean, Kevin is better on the mic, but Apollo Crews is maybe just as talented in the ring, or if you want to put it like this, Johnny Gargano took Kevin Owens' spot. Or where would Johnny Gargano be if everybody stayed in NXT? Would you have needed Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano? Would Austin Aries be in NXT if the Ascension and Kevin Owens and Neville and Bo Dallas never got called up? What about if Tyson Kidd never got called up? Would Cesaro and Kidd have ever actually been a team? Yes, maybe Tyson Kidd's injury never would have happened, but once again, Tyson was down there to have a renaissance, to rebirth his career. That's what he did. That's what he did, because when he came back up, he hit his stride until his injury with Cesaro. That was the hottest period of Tyson's career. Unfortunately, it was ended via injury. But fact is, WWE has never had respect and understood what they have in a developmental. They never have had the respect for a developmental. Going back all the way from when it was just FCW at the back end of the 2000s, when WWE was going through a new superstar initiative, when people like Sheamus and Drew McIntyre and the Major Brothers, Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins, and a whole mess of other people came up from developmental, all within a couple months of each other. Most of them ending up on ECW, but all of them were there for one cardinal reason: because they were doing a new superstar initiative, because they were losing Shawn Michaels, because they lost Batista, because they were losing this person, because they lost that person. The depth started dying off at the end of the going into the early 2010, going into 2010, when people like Carlito and John Morrison and when Shelton Benjamin left and MVP left, and the list goes on and on and on. And ever since then, the depth has been slowly getting worse and worse and worse. Why? Because WWE never understood what they have with the developmental. They have the ability to make new stars if they invest in talent like Tyler Breeze and The Ascension and other talent that is down there like Cass and Enzo and Dash and Dawson and Finn Balor and Bailey and Nia Jax, and heck, even Elias Sampson. But the fact is, sooner or later, people like Elias Sampson are going to get the spotlight on NXT, and people like Apollo Crews and Johnny Gargano are going to be up on the main roster. That's how it's supposed to work. It isn't supposed to work where talent is down there forever. NXT is a developmental, and people forget that. I hope I reminded you. If you agree with this video, if you agree or want to express your opinion on this video, please leave a comment. I want to hear what you have to say. Do you think NXT is a developmental? Or has it become more than a developmental with its success? And is it growing too fast and sooner or later needs to be pulled back, and somebody needs to tell Triple H he's running the developmental? But either way, success is success, but don't let it go to your head. And remember, not everybody watches NXT, even if they have the WWE Network. If you like this video, leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content just like this that you can only find right here at Wrestling Express. Till next time. Later.